something unlikely happens when a high-powered marketing executive, fleeing her corporate downfall, runs into a quiet bookstore owner who's given up on his dreams. Sarah Chen stares at the cardboard box on her mahogany desk, 20 years of achievements reduced to personal items and a wilted plant. At 38, she's built empires for tech giants, launched products that defined generations, and commanded boardrooms with the precision of a surgeon. Today, she's just another casualty of corporate restructuring. "We're going in a different direction," her former boss had said, the same man who'd praised her vision just months before. The irony isn't lost on her. She who crafted messages of reinvention for brands now faces her own urgent need for transformation. 3 weeks later, Sarah finds herself driving through the Oregon countryside in her BMW, seeking clarity on winding roads she's never traveled. The self-help podcasts promised that answers would come during solo journeys, that distance from the noise would reveal her true path. Instead, she feels more lost than ever. Rain begins to fall as she enters Millbrook, population 4,000 and shrinking. The town seems frozen in time, with its brick buildings and hand-painted signs advertising local businesses that probably haven't changed hands in decades. She planned to grab coffee and keep driving, but the weather has other plans. Water rushes down Main Street. As the storm intensifies, Sarah's car sputters to a stop outside the Written Word, an independent bookstore with warm lights spilling through rain-streaked windows. She dashes inside, soaked and shivering. "Rough day to be traveling," a voice observes from behind towering shelves. David Martinez emerges, 42, and wearing a flannel shirt that's seen better days. His dark hair is slightly disheveled, and there's something in his brown eyes that suggests he understands disappointment intimately. This is his sanctuary, filled with stories he wishes he could tell, as well as the authors whose works line his shelves. "I was just passing through," Sarah says, wringing water from her designer jacket. "I'll be gone as soon as the rain stops." David glances toward the window where water continues to rise. "I hate to break it to you, but that's not stopping anytime soon. The creek's already overflowing, and the Weather Service is calling for 3 more days of this. By morning, Millbrook is an island. The main roads are impassable. Cell towers are down, and Sarah's carefully planned journey has become an indefinite stay. The local inn offers her their last available room, a cozy space that feels like stepping back into her grandmother's house. She returns to the Written Word, drawn by its warmth and the surprising comfort of David's presence. He's arranging books that got damp near the windows, handling each one with the care of someone who understands their value beyond price tags. "You're handling this crisis pretty well for a business owner," Sarah observes, her marketing mind analyzing his calm demeanor. David shrugs. "Crises are just life happening. You adapt or you don't survive. Small businesses learn that early. In my world, we had crisis management teams, contingency plans, backup systems for our backup systems." She pauses, hearing the past tense in her own voice. "Had? What happened?" The question is simple, but Sarah finds herself telling him everything. The late nights, the missed family dinners, the relationships sacrificed for quarterly reports, how she built her identity around achievements that disappeared with a single meeting. "Maybe the flood is a sign," David suggests gently. "Sometimes we need to be forced to stop before we can figure out where we're actually going." "Are you always this philosophical?" Sarah asks, deflecting the uncomfortable truth in his words. "Occupational hazard of spending too much time with books." David pulls a worn manuscript from beneath the counter. "Plus, I have plenty of time to think about life's deeper meanings, since I'm not exactly conquering the literary world." Sarah recognizes the look of deferred dreams in his eyes. "You're a writer." "Was. It's complicated." He touches the manuscript like it might bite him. "I've been working on this novel for 8 years. It's about a man who inherits his father's failing hardware store and has to choose between saving the family business or pursuing his dream of becoming a carpenter. What's stopping you from finishing it?" "Fear, mostly. Fear that it's not good enough. That I'm not good enough. It's easier to keep it perfect in my head than risk having it judged in the real world." Sarah understands that fear intimately. She's spent her career managing risk for others while avoiding the biggest risk of all, being truly vulnerable. As days pass, they fall into an unexpected rhythm. Sarah helps organize the store's chaotic inventory system, applying her strategic mind to David's creative chaos. He introduces her to books she never had time to read, stories that remind her why she fell in love with words before she learned to weaponize them for profit. "You know what's funny?" Sarah says on their 4th day together, sorting through a box of poetry collections. "I used to write in college. Real writing, not marketing copy. I wanted to be a journalist, to tell stories that mattered. What changed? Life. student loans, the promise of a steady paycheck. She holds up a slim volume of contemporary poetry. I told myself I'd get back to it someday. Someday became never. It's not too late. I'm 38, David. I don't have time to start over with some romantic notion of finding my passion. Who says you have to choose? Maybe the skills you learned in marketing could help you tell the stories you want to tell now. That night, Sarah lies awake thinking about paths not taken and the strange comfort of being stranded with someone who sees possibility where she sees only endings. The next morning brings news that the roads will reopen soon. Sarah should feel relieved, but instead she feels something like panic. Returning to her life means facing the reality of being unemployed at nearly 40, of starting over in a world that values youth and innovation above experience and wisdom. I don't know what I'm going back to, she admits to David as they share coffee in the pre-dawn quiet of the bookstore. Maybe that's the point. Maybe you're not going back to anything. Maybe you're going towards something new. Is that what you tell yourself about your book? David is quiet for a long moment. Touché. We're both pretty good at giving advice we don't take ourselves. What if we change that? The question hangs between them, loaded with possibility and terrifying in its implications. On their final day together, David does something that surprises them both. He hands Sarah his manuscript. I want you to read it, he says, his voice steady despite the vulnerability in his eyes. Not as a favor, but because I trust your judgment. You've built a career understanding what resonates with people. Sarah takes the pages with reverence, understanding the magnitude of what he's offering. And if I think it's terrible, then I'll know. And knowing has to be better than wondering. She reads through the night, completely absorbed in David's story of duty versus dreams, of a man learning that sometimes the greatest courage is choosing the uncertain path. The writing is raw in places, polished in others, but throughout it all, there's an honesty that takes her breath away. It's beautiful, she tells him the next morning. It's real and complicated and beautiful, but more than that, it's ready. Ready to be shared, to find its readers, to stop being perfect in your head and start being imperfect in the world. David stares at her, hope and terror warring in his expression. You really think so? I know so, and I think I know how to help you find those readers. Sarah's mind is already spinning with possibilities, not the aggressive corporate strategies of her past, but something more organic, more authentic. She sees book clubs and local readings, partnerships with independent bookstores like David's own, a grassroots approach that honors the story's intimate nature. Why would you help me? David asks. Because you helped me remember who I was before I became who I thought I needed to be. As the floodwaters recede and the roads reopen, Sarah faces her own moment of choice. She could return to Seattle, update her resume, and hunt for another corporate position. She could rebuild the same life she's always known, or she could stay. I have a proposition, she tells David as they watch the last of the water drain from Main Street. This town, this bookstore, your book, they all need the same thing. They need someone who understands how to connect stories with the people who need to hear them. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe we both found what we were looking for in the last place we expected to find it. I'm saying maybe getting stranded was the best thing that ever happened to either of us. David looks at her with something that might be love, or might be hope, or might be both. Are you sure you're giving up everything you built? No, Sarah says, understanding finally flooding through her like the waters that brought them together. I'm not giving up anything. I'm choosing something better. I'm choosing a life that fits who I actually am, not who I thought I had to be. 6 months later, the written word has become a destination. Sarah's marketing expertise, combined with David's passion for literature, has created something magical, a place where stories find their perfect readers, where authors like David find their voices, and where two people who thought they'd lost their way discover that sometimes the best journeys begin when you stop trying to control the destination. David's novel finds a publisher, a small press that specializes in literary fiction about ordinary people facing extraordinary choices. Sarah starts a consultancy helping independent bookstores thrive in the digital age, work that combines her strategic skills with her rediscovered love for authentic storytelling. But more than professional success, they found something neither expected when Sarah's car broke down in the rain. They found home. Share your story in the comments below. I love hearing about the moments that changed your life's direction. And if this story of second chances and unexpected love resonated with you, subscribe for more tales about the beautiful unpredictability of life and the courage it takes to start over.